Heaven just got a little more intense recently. I have a visual of Coach walking across the pearly white gates, probably hooking up with my father and probably Coach Dressel, your father, and requesting a meeting with the Apostle Peter and all the other saints, and he wants to review job descriptions and wants to make sure everything's running smoothly, and if not, I'm sure he'll get it corrected. That's going on as we speak. He's a very intimidating coach because he was never wrong. And when he was wrong, he was still never wrong. And he made that clear with you. My first meeting with Coach Bruce, I believe, was right up that hallway here in St. John Arena. I just finished playing at University of Cincinnati and had an opportunity to come interview for a graduate assistant position here at Ohio State. I'm sitting upstairs waiting in the reception room, and as I'm getting ready to go in Coach Bruce's office, Tim Hint walks by me, who's currently a GA at the time at Ohio State, and introduced himself and said, "What's your name? Why are you here?" So I'm Urban Meyer. I'm here for interviewing for a graduate assistant position. He said, "Which one?" And I didn't know there was more than one. I said, "Well, I don't know. I'm just here." And he said, "Well, there's one on offense, one on defense. Offense is a tight end position. Defense is defensive back. I played defensive back my whole life, so I guess I'm here for defense." He said, No. Make sure you take the tight end position. Go after the tight end position." And I'm thinking, what the hell? I know nothing about being a tight end coach, but he's in my jug as he's telling me, take the tight end, go after the tight end spot. And he started to leave. Right then, Coach Bruce's assistant came walking up to me and said, "He'll see you." Now understand, I idolized Coach Bruce. I grew up watching him coach, and I've been a Buckeye my entire life. I come walking into the meeting, into his office, and I'm just in awe. I'm sitting there with Earle Bruce. He says, "Sit down," and he asked my name, my background, and says, "Why are you here?" And I just was so intimidated when he said, "What position are you here for?" I just shot right across the desk at him. "I'm here to coach the tight ends." And I felt like I was walking into a pre-med exam. No idea, sweat started pouring off my forehead. And right then, the grace of God, his assistant came walking back in and said, "Coach, there's this top recruit on the phone. You need to take this phone call." And my knees sunk down. He gets up, walks out, takes a phone call, looks at me, goes, "You'll be fine. Go get with Coach Linkenberg." And that's how I got officially hired as a tight end coach at Ohio State. Another story I'd like to share with you that really Coach Alford and his former players, I see many of them here today, will share with you as well, and many coaches. This story indicates and dictates the foundation, or tells the story of the foundation of why Coach Bruce was the coach that he was. Very unique coach, and his coaching tree all share the similar qualities. And that is that he expected you, this is well before laptops, iPads, and cell phones, iPhones, so I would carry and I can see many of the coaches nodding their head, in your wallet you had to carry a note card. And on that note card, it was your player's name, his parents' name, where they're from, his major, his GPA, what year in school he was, his girlfriend, and where his girlfriend was from. You had to carry that with you at all times. And often he would test you and ask you questions, so you had to know everything you could about your player. But the one thing that he really taught us, and I still use, never, ever give up on a player, ever. The media can, other people can, his family may even give up on him. Don't you, as a coach, ever give up on that player. So 1990, I was hired. I see Coach Zabel sitting right there. I was hired in 1990 at Colorado State. There was a player, I won't share his name because there's no reason to share his name, but he was a pain in the rear end. He was a tough guy to coach. We all had guys like that. Would not go to class, was disrespectful to people, was very lazy, just did not do things the right way, to the point where I would dive into him, 7, 8 times a day. And it finally reached the point that I was hired in, I believe, February or March of 1990, and one of our coaches got married that summer. At the wedding, I finally couldn't take it anymore. I told Shelly, I'm done with this kid. I'm done coaching him. It's over. And so I go to the wedding, we're on vacation, and I'm waiting to see when Coach Bruce walks in, because I'm still, he's been gone for a week, I'm still horrified of him. But as he comes walking in with Gene, they sit down at a table right across from Shelly, and I'm sitting there, and he's sitting down with his lovely wife, and I look at her, I said, I'm gonna go tell him. And she goes, oh, she's not quite sure what's about to happen. So I walk up, I walk over. The band's playing, it's a wedding reception, all deal. And I said, "Hi, Coach, how are you?" I said, "Hey, how are you?" And shook my hand. And I said, "You got a second?" And he looked, gave me that pissed off look like he had. He said, "Sure, what's up?" And I said, "Coach, I can't take it anymore. This player doesn't go to class. He's being disrespectful. He does nothing I tell him to do. I think he's a bad guy. I don't want him in the program, and I can't coach him anymore." He looked at me, looked around a little bit. He goes, "Come here a minute, lean in." He leaned into me. It was real loud. I said, "Yeah, what's going on?" And he said, "Well, let me explain something to you. That by Monday morning, I'll have a coach here who can coach him. Is that clear? Get out of here." So I walked over to Shelly, and she's sitting there. She goes, "How'd it go?" I said, "Great. I'm going to coach. The player will not be leaving Colorado State University. I'm going to figure out a way to coach him." The final story I'd like to share before a couple comments and we can close is that one thing that also Coach Bruce taught me and often spoke to his players and former coaches about, when given an opportunity, you swing as hard as you possibly can and give it everything you got. Whether it's an opportunity in corporate America, opportunity to be a father, opportunity to be a football coach, you get in that batter's box and you swing as hard as you can, because you never know when the next one's going to show up. So we're playing in the SEC championship. I was at Florida at the time, obviously, and it was 2006. And we're playing Arkansas for the SEC championship, really the first big time game first national game I was in. And we have our pregame meal, getting ready to go play the game. I address the players, send them up to the rooms, and then they're going to come back down and we get ready to go to the stadium. And I am a mess. The pressure's mounting. First opportunity, a situation like that, and I was not myself. And I did not even realize, as the players left, sitting right to my right was Earle Bruce. Didn't even realize it. As the players leave, I sit down, I feel a nudge, I look over, I said, "Oh, hey, Coach." And he said, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm not doing very good. Not very good at all." And by then, the young ladies and the servers are all taking up the dishes and they're cleaning out. There's a good chunk of 20 to 25 of them around us picking up the dishes and moving on. And here's the elder gentleman, older coach, basically verbally assaulting and attacking a coach. He stands up, he starts pounding me with the famous finger, pounds me in my chest, and starts screaming at me in front of these young ladies, to the point where they went and got security. They didn't know who this guy was. And he says, "You've got your team to this point because you let them play and you let the MFer go." So now he's at the top of his lungs. He starts pounding my chest, "Let the MFer go." And he just kept screaming at me. So like any coach that worked for Earle Bruce, I grab my pen, I write on my game plan sheet right at the bottom, "Let the MFer go," in big bold letters. So the game comes. We're up 17-7 at halftime. Going at halftime, we find out that USC has just lost to UCLA. If we win this game, we're playing for the national championship of college football. Once again, it's upon us. The team feels it. I did not do a great job of calming the team down, and sure enough, we went out and we played like we're playing for the national championship. Turnover, touchdown, Arkansas. Turnover, touchdown, Arkansas. Next thing you know, it's 21-17. We're losing. The crowd is not behind us. They kick off, we return it, get hit on about the 8-yard line. It's 4th down and 10 on the 8-yard line for the SEC championship in the third quarter. What do? Like any coach, I would grab my folder, I stare at the game plan, and what do I see? "Let the MFer go." So I called a fake punt on 4th and 10 from my own 8-yard line. And obviously, I'm telling you the story because I'm not sure I would have survived down in Florida if that would have not happened. We got a first down, the game changed, and I can speak on many here today that Coach Bruce's influence has influenced many former players and coaches with decisions such as that. Last night, I was having a great conversation with a dear friend, and he said something that impacted me. I told him I was speaking today, and we started having one of those in-depth conversations about the journey we were on and about those who've impacted our journey. And he made this comment. I ask you to remember this as you leave here today. A lesson learned from a life lived. I'm going to say it again, a lesson learned from a life lived. We are a product of those strategically placed by God in our life, yet we choose who to follow. These influences of these incredible people shape and impact our belief system, our process of decision making, our choosing friends, our actions in difficult times, our actions in great times, actions as a father and as a husband, our courage to chase our dreams, and finally our stamina and energy to live life. Here we are at the lessons from a life lived, not just a life lived, a great man's life that was lived. Here's the lessons learned from this coach. Toughness, we heard about that earlier today. However, toughness is number one whenever you mention the name Earle Bruce. Here's his thoughts on toughness. There is no substitute. In football, in living life, in raising a family, in being a coach, you get knocked down, you get back up. Your love of family, his love for Jean was always on full display, the way he treated her. His love for his beautiful daughters, even when authority was challenged, was always on full display. He also believed in clarity and honesty when he spoke to you. Speak clearly and to the point. Make sure your thought and your opinion is extremely well thought out, and be prepared to fight for your belief or your opinion. And the difference between right and wrong. There is no gray area, zero. You follow rules, you do the right thing. Loyalty to your family, your former players, and your coaches, and this can never be challenged. And finally, his incredible love for The Ohio State University and the legendary coach, Woody Hayes. It was a university who let him go. It was a coach that pushed him beyond his limits at times, yet this made even his love that much stronger. I speak for many here today, many who aren't here today. I stand very humbled and appreciative that God chose Earle Bruce and my father to serve as my mentors and guide and teach me along this incredible journey. There'll never be a day that I'm not grateful and appreciative to the Bruce family for allowing me to be part of your family for the past 32 years. A lesson learned from a life lived. Thanks for being here. God bless you.